So, good afternoon, guys. My dear student for IT 6220 Information Management, Systems Planning and Development. Objective: at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to define planning, to know the importance of planning, to differentiate system analysis and system design, to identify the phases of system analysis. So let's have the introduction. Every organization, as part of its life cycle, constantly engages in the four essential functions of management. So we have planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. The foremost of this is planning. It is a part of management concern with creating procedures, rules, and guidelines for achieving a stated objective. All other managerial functions must be planned if they are to be effective. So managers at all levels engage in planning as objectives and goals that have to be set up for a day-to-day activities. So day-to-day activities, it's like a supervisory level, as well as the broader long-term initiatives. Planning is the most basic of all managerial functions, which involves establishing goals, setting out objectives, and defining the methods by which these goals and objectives are to be attained. It is therefore a rational approach to achieving a pre-selected objectives. Planning involves selecting missions and objectives and the actions to achieve them. An important aspect of planning is decision making. That is, choosing the right alternative for the future course of action. So in planning also, organizations have to typically plan for long range and short range future direction by forecasting and predicting the market and socio-political economic trends. Managers can plan to determine where they desire a company to be in the future. So let them decide what will be. Planning determines various types and volumes of physical and other resources to acquired from outside, allocating these resources in an efficient manner among competing claims and to make arrangement for systematic conversion of these resources into useful outputs. So, since plans are made to attain or we already attain the objectives, every plan should lead to the achievement of the organization's purposes and objectives. An organized enterprise exists to accomplish group objectives through willing and purposeful cooperation. Planning bridges the gap between where the organization stands currently and wishes to be in the future. So what will happen with the organization now and in the future? In the absence of planning, events are left to chance. So the importance of planning as the major constituent in the management process is usually accepted. Planning not only brings stability and certainty to business, it also brings in a unified sense of direction. So of course, it's not only the stability of one's business. Of course, there is a direction. What will be the purpose of a company? Like the company that we know yung mga established na, yung mga SM, okay, Robinsons, and others. And purpose for the achievement of certain well-defined objectives. So like this one, this is the business plan. If you have a business plan, of course, you have to do the research. What are the different marketing strategies that you're going to do? What will be the innovation? What are your plans? What are your recommendations? Of course, having a business plan, you have also a goal for you to success. Okay? So with all of this, there should be what? The work, the strategy, the teamwork or the camaraderie of an organization in a competitive market. So when we talk of the market, so ilalabas na natin siya, wherein so that your business plan will be ahead to others. Okay? So, of course, planning is very important in a business. Systematic planning by managers. Of course, there should be a sense of direction. Planning provides a unity of purpose. What will be your purpose? For you to have a plan or a good direction. It brings together all resources towards achieving common goals. Without plans and goals, organization will respond to everyday events in an ad hoc manner without considering long-term possibilities. So when we said of the ad hoc is no plan yet. Okay, it's just a small one. Next one is resource paucity. Resource crunch is a major challenge for organizations today. Management are confronted with the task of optimizing outputs with limited human material and financial resources through intelligent planning. Otherwise, wasteful inefficiencies would lead to higher prices and severe shortages. So, kailangan guys, you have to be resourceful. You have to check all the materials that you're going to use. Okay, so that is a planning. Another one is uncertainty. Uncertainty is a major challenge, even to the most intelligent planner. Why? Organizations continually face micro and macroeconomic uncertainty in the course of accomplishing their task. When we said of microeconomics, it is a study of an individual household form's decision. It focuses on the supply and demand and the other forces that determine the price level, making it up bottom-up approach. Okay? But when we said macroeconomics, it analyzes the decision made by the countries and government. So what it involves? It determines how many jobs are available. How many jobs are available daw in the economy? Like we have now a pandemic. It determines also a nation's standard of living. So what is the standard of living nowadays? Because of the because of what we experience in the pandemic. What causes economy to speed up or slow down? So planning helps the managers to anticipate such changes and meet these challenges. So of course, they have the different strategic plans to overcome all of this. Planning information system. So we have the enterprise information system are gaining in popularity. However, they require a substantial investment, carry a high risk in implementation. Successful integration of the system is vital. It should be or it must be aligned IT strategies with the overall organization strategies. Careful planning of an IS implementation is necessary for a good company. Another one is IT planning includes the several key steps. First is to create a corporate and IT mission statement. Articulate the vision for IT within the organization. Create an IT strategic or the information technology strategic and tactical plans. Create a plan for operations to achieve the mission and vision. Create budget to ensure that resources are available to achieve the mission and vision. So that means that the company has to have a vision and mission in their strategic planning. Steps in planning information system. So you will see here the corporate mission with this hierarchy. The IT mission, that is the role of the IT organization in a corporation. The IT vision, the ideal technology like the hardware, software, communications for the corporation. IT strategic plan, it is the goals that you have to be achieved. The IT tactical plans, it is an objectives and ways to achieve them. So we have here the plans of operations. We have the projects, priorities, staffing, purchasing, funding, and then the last one is the budget. So that is the steps in planning the IS. So mission statement, what is it? It communicates the most important overarching goal of an organization. So that means it is how the goals will be achieved. Ano ba yung objective natin? What is our purpose? So make sure that the objective is also attainable so that we can achieve it. Next is IS mission statement describes the role of IT in the organization. It should be compatible with the organizational mission statement. It includes the ideal combination of hardware. So what hardware? Hardware is the physical component of the information system or the computer system, while software is the what? The intangible part. And networking is used to support the mission. CIO develops a strategic plan for implementation of an IT in the organization. What technology will be used by employees, customers, and suppliers? Goals in the plan are broken down into objectives. So why we need to have it broken down or into a smaller one? So such as we have resources to be acquired or developed, the timetable for acquiring and implementing resources. So let's see, for a timetable, that means is we have a project schedule, okay? The duration on how long we're going to acquire and implement those resources. The training, of course, we need to have the training of all our employees. Objectives are broken down to operational details. IT planning is similar to planning of other resource acquisitions. Growing proportion of IT funds is spent on software in recent years. More purchasing and adapting of software. So we need to adapt the new softwares kasi nga we are planning to have innovation of our business. Less developing in-house software. IT planning can be driven by a variety of sources. And what are those? So this one, we have the competitive environment. So we're in the senior management, the IT professionals, the users, and the line managers. They are the one who do the IT planning. Okay? The benefits. What are the benefits of standardization in planning? One major goal and advantage of planning is standardization, which includes the cost saving. So, better bargaining power in purchasing and leasing hardware and software. So, we do the bargaining. Okay, to lessen, so since we are, it's just like cost cutting, okay, we have to bargain the price in purchasing or leasing the hardware and the software. Efficient training. A smaller variety of software reduces employee training needs. Why? Because we have a better software. Efficient support enables more staff specialization. So we have also to make our staff, okay, specialize with their chosen field, or they have their knowledge. From planning to development. After planning, the management must decide how to obtain the system. So usually that is the software. Approaches to systems development are the same for in-house or purchase systems. We have the two general approaches. The SDLC, which is the traditional approach, and the non-traditional methods. That includes the Agile method. So Agile is one of the methods. Prototyping, a fast development of an application based on an initial user requirements. So system development, we have two system development or two types. System development is a systematic process which include phases such as planning, analysis, design, deployment, and maintenance, such as the system analysis and the system design. So what's the difference between the two? In system analysis, it is a process of collecting and interpreting facts, identifying the problems, and decomposition. So decomposition means we break down into a smaller part of a system into its components. System analysis is conducted for the purpose of studying a system or its parts in order to identify its objectives. It's a problem-solving technique that improves the system and ensures that all the components of the system work. It works efficiently to accomplish the purpose. So, system analysis specify what does the system should do. Okay? So, we have 5 steps on how to gain the system analysis. First, of course, you have to do the investigation. There should be a physical, a technical feasibility study, an economic feasibility study, an operational feasibility study, and then you have the requirements definition. So how this 5-step process? So let us see those phases. Okay, so you will see here, guys. Okay, so this is the investigation. In doing the system, we conducted an investigation and then have the technical feasibility study, an economic feasibility study, an operational feasibility study. That gives you, that all of these 3 gives you a requirements definition. So let's define it one by one. Investigation. What can you say with the investigation? It is the process of finding out what the system is being built to do and if the system is feasible. Feasible ba yung system or not? So that means you have to investigate. Second is, this will help gain an understanding of the technical resources of the organization and the applicability to the needs of the system. What are the different needs of the system? Next is the small ad hoc team usually performs a preliminary investigation. How? So by conducting an interview with the employees. So we're done with the investigation. Let's have now the feasibility study. It can be considered as a preliminary investigation that helps the management to take decision about whether study of system should be feasible. Is it feasible for the development or not? Okay. The main objective of feasibility study is to acquire the problem scope instead of solving the problem. So you have to acquire first what is the problem or the scope of the problem before doing the before solving it. Next one is the technical. What technical means? It analyzes and determines whether the solution can be supported by existing. So the existing or the old one technology or not. The analyst determines whether a current technical resources be upgraded or added it that fulfill the new requirements. It determines also if the organization has an adequate hardware. So that means it's technical. Economic. What about economic feasibility? It is used for evaluating the effectiveness. How effective is your proposed system? It determines if the new IS is it economically justified? Okay. In economic feasibility, the most important is we have the cost-benefit analysis, or we call it the CBA. As the name suggests, it is an analysis of the cost to be incurred in the system and benefits variable out of the system. So we have also what we call the ROI, or the return on investment. What does it mean? It is the most accurate economic analysis, wherein it calculates the difference between the stream of benefits and the stream of cost over the life of the system. In short, the IOI is the payback period for a project. Will you earn or not? So that means you will have the computation, for example, is in a business, okay, meron akong project, or let's say I'm planning to sell something. So for 5 years, I have to know, okay, to check if kumita ba ako or hindi. So that is the payback period for a project. May be difficult to justify the cost of a new IS because many benefits are intangible. Intangible means cannot be touched and cannot be quantified in dollar terms. Example is the BI, or the business intelligence. And also the other one is the knowledge management system, because we're using here is the, this is an intangible. Okay? So we have, what about the operational feasibility? It is the measure of how well a proposed system solves the problem and takes advantage of the opportunities identified during the scope definition and how it satisfies the requirements, which is identified in the requirements analysis phase of a system development. So what we have also what we call the organizational culture. It is a general tone of the corporate environment. wherein it must determine the new system's compatibility with the organizational culture. Requirements definition, it details what the system should be able to do. Ano ba yung mga dapat gawin? Ano ba yung mga details done by the system analysis? We have also the system requirements. It details the functions and features expected from the new system since we innovate the system. What about the second phase, which is the system design? Okay, so the second phase is the systems design in a systems development. It is a process of planning a new business system or replacing an existing system by defining its components. Or its component or modules to satisfy the specific requirements. Before planning, you need to understand the old system thoroughly and determine how computers can best be used in order to operate it efficiently. Okay, you have to know first the old system. System design is focused on how to accomplish the objectives of your system. It includes the 3 steps for devising the means to meet all the requirements. So the first one is description of the components. What is the description? Second is the construction. And then the third is the testing. If purchasing a system, it design phase determine how to adopt the existing system or the old one. Construction is an actual changes in a program code. So what will be now the changes, okay, in your coding? Phases, we have this one. So this is the description of the components and do the construction. After doing the construction, of course, that is the debugging and the testing. Okay? So symbols are used to communicate ideas about data, processes, and information. Visual information can be grasped more quickly. So we have what we call the data flow diagram. So I know everybody knows data diagram, diba? Do you still data diagram, guys? Do you still remember it? Wherein you're using it in your program or in a system. So data flow diagram, it describes the flow of data in a business operation using the 4 symbols, or it describes the business, the process of your programs. We have what we call the external entities. And groups, external entities are individual and groups external to the system. So we have the customers, employees, and others. Process, an event or events that affect the data. So data store, any form of data at rest. And then direction. It indicates how does your data moves or what direction it will be going. Implementation, it is a process of defining how the IS, or the information system, be built. For example, the physical and the, yes. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes
ensuring
po.
that the information system is operational and used. So we make sure also that the information system meets the quality standard, or for the example is the quality assurance. So we have the two steps, the conversion and the training. Wherein training may not precede conversion. Conversion, it is the switching from the old system to the new system. It can be a very difficult time. Okay, so that's why, like we have in a systems analysis and design, it is a system wherein we're designing an old one to a new system. We have the four basic conversion strategies. The first one is the parallel conversion. It is the old system used simultaneously with the new system at first. Second is the phase conversion. Phase conversion means it breaks the new IS into modules and integrates one at a time only. It reduces risk but delays some benefits. What about cut-over conversion, or what we call the flash cut conversion? It immediately replaces all modules. Risky, but maybe inexpensive. Okay? So, medyo mas mura siya. We have the pilot conversion. It introduces the IS into one business unit at a time. So we have the beta site, a site that tests the new system. We have the different strategies used to convert from one is to another. So if you will see here, guys, these are the different what strategies. We have parallel, phase, cut over, and then the pilot. So when we said the parallel, the old system and the new system run in parallel. And so we have this now, the new system. Phases, we do the, when using the old system, we do the modules. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4 to produce you a new system. The cutover, the old system to a new system. The pilot, what we have, the new system, Unit 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6, the old, and then we'll have now the new system. Support. It begins after the delivery, which includes the two responsibilities, the maintenance and the user health. Maintenance means the post-implementation, debugging, updates, and adding postponed features. And then the second responsible is the user health. Maintenance comprises up to 80% of IS budget. Okay, bakit? Kasi marami tayong magiging problem with our system. So we need to have 80% of our budget. Support is the longest phase of the system life cycle. Bakit? Kasi ando na yung ongoing maintenance natin with the system done or the innovated one. Effective maintenance requires good system documentation. So, as I told you, we have the Agile methods. What is an Agile? Agile methods is an alternative development methods, treats software development as series of contacts with users. Goal is the fast development of a software. Improve software after user request for modifications received. Agile methods use iterative programming. So it emphasizes continuous improvement based on the user's request. So we have this one using the Agile. First is you have to identify the preliminary requirements. Okay, so you're done with the investigation, the feasibility study, and so on. So do identifying the requirements. Next, construct a working model. After doing it, the user will try the system. Is the system working or not? Okay? So if it is okay, the system is unsatisfactory. So that means it's not working. You have to identify the additional requirements and refine the system. So you have to know first what are the needed requirements. And then you go back to the users. Try again your system until such time that the system is satisfactory. Okay, that means that the system is now in good condition. So, working na siya. That's the time that you can deliver the system. Okay? So, when are we going to use the Agile methods? The Agile methods are best used when a desired system is small. Analysis is less important. It requires a smaller investment of resources. For unstructured problems, for developing user interfaces, when users cannot specify all requirements as the start of the project. So that means if you cannot specify yet what are the requirements, what are the resources needed to start off the project, you can use the Agile methods. They may be unfamiliar with the technology as well as the requirements may be difficult to conceptualize. No, when not to be used the Agile method. So do not use the Agile methods when the desired system is large or complex. So that means if your system is large one, so you are not applicable to use this because something happened, the system failure entails the great financial loss. So of course, what will happen to your financial? Diba? So you might encounter a loss kasi nga nag-system failure. The desired system must interface with the other system. The SDLC or the software development life cycle, the system recommended for complex systems. Documentation is key for integration. So here, when and when not to use. When to use the Agile methods, when not to use. Small scale, so you cannot use it if it is a large scale. Use it when the system solving unstructured problem. No, if it is a complex system. You can use it when it's difficult for users to specify the system requirements. So, but if you have already the interfaces with other system, don't use the Agile. When the development team is small and co-located, you can use the Agile. But if you have a large team, no need. The system requirements are dynamic. You can use the Agile. If not, the system requirements are fairly static. Another one, you can use Agile if the system will not put people and critical organizations goals at risk and the development project budget is very tight. Or in short, you have only a small budget. But if the development or an organization have big budget or well-funded, so that's the time when not to use the Agile method. The system will significantly affect people's well-being and critical organization goal. Okay, so these are the things that you have to remember when and when not to use the Agile methods. Systems integration, it examines the need of an entire organization. It produces a plan to combine disparate systems to allow data to flow between the units. Some service companies specialize in systems integration. Integration is more challenging than the development of the system. Legacy systems may need to be interfaced with a new system. So that's it, guys. Any questions so far? No worries, guys. If ever you were not able to start on the presentation, it will be uploaded in our LMS. Okay? Okay, so this is the end. Thank you guys for listening. God bless and keep safe. So this is Professor Beth Santa Ana, your OLC for Information Management.